I had a summer where I played basketball when I was like 10, 11 years old, and a very prominent summer league in Philadelphia called the Sunny Hill League. And my father played, my uncle played, and they were like all-time greats.
Yeah.
And stuff. Will Chamberlain played in the league, Earl played in the league, and here I come playing, and I don't score 1 point the entire summer.
Really?
Not one.
How old were you?
11, 10, 11.
You're playing against other 10, 11-year-olds, or you didn't score once?
Not one.
Were you in the game?
I was in again
How did you not score?
because I was terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
At 10, 11 years old, you were that
Awful. I mean, and I had these big knee pads on because I was growing really fast. I had socks all the way up here, and I had like the high top
Skinny,
fades, like skinny as hell. And I scored not a free throw, nothing, not a lucky shot, not a breakaway layup, 0 points. And I remember crying about it, being upset about it. And my father just gave me a hug and said, "Listen, whether you score 0 or score 60, I'm going to love you no matter what."
Wow.
Now that is the most important thing that you can say to a child. Because from there, I was like, okay, it gives me all the confidence in the world to fail. I have the security there. But to hell with that, I'm scoring 60. Let's go.
Right.
And from there, I just went to work. I stayed with it. I kept practicing. You know, when you're in this culture in our society, you can do some phenomenal things individually, but they'll never reach their full potential unless you're doing collectively. And you have to figure out how to do that. The challenge for me was always compassion and empathy. I think about '09 things started changing for me. I started really making a conscious effort to better understand. And that doesn't mean, you have compassion and empathy so you go soft. It's more like you put yourself to the side, you put yourself in their shoes and understand what they're feeling. And then you have to make certain decisions of, okay, what buttons do I need to push for this player to get them to the next level. So it's not sit around and it's all happy-go-lucky type of thing. If you're a leader, your job is to get the best out of them, even if they may not like it at that time. One of the things I had to learn is how to get the best out of my teammates.
Yeah.
And most people think it's a simple thing, pass them the ball. Yeah, that's not how you make guys better. You have to really affect their behavior.
How do you do that?
So, like I would tell guys, we got back-to-backs. I don't care if we're in Miami, I don't care if we're in Great City, Chicago. You can't go out there. Right?
Back-to-back games.
Back-to-back games, right? Monday, Tuesday. Play Monday, play again Tuesday. Guys aren't going to listen, right? You know.
Right.
So a few times I said, all right, we'll all go out. Go out together.
Really?
I'll drink with you, right? The next morning, I'm banging on your door at 5 in the morning. Let's go.
They're not getting
Where are we going? I hung out with you. Now you come hang out with me.
Wow.
This is what we do. All right, let's go. Here at the gym, we're working out, right? We hit the bus, we go to practice, we play that night.
And they're dead.
And they're dead. And they're like, oh, lesson learned.
Really?
Lesson learned.
Take them out once.
Listen, if you're gonna do that. But don't let that compromise what we're here to do.
Right.
This is why we're here. This is why you're here in the first place.
But what does losing feel like to you?
It's exciting.
Why is it exciting?
Because it means you have different ways to get better. There's certain things that you can figure out that you can take advantage of, right? Certain weaknesses that were exposed that you need to shore up, right? So it was exciting. I mean, it sucks to lose,
Right.
but at the same time, there are answers there. You just look at them. I'll give you an example. So Katie Lou Sanderson is one of the best college basketball players in the country. She plays at UConn. She's going to be a senior. And they just had a really tough season last year. Really lost to Notre Dame in the final. And so I asked her, I said, have you watched the Notre Dame game? She was like, no. Well, why not? I said, I don't know. I said, I know you know, but you're going to play Notre Dame this year, yeah? Yeah. There's a chance that you see him again in the final. Well, probably see him again. So, well, you can't show up and play them without knowing why you lost that one, right? So, the mistakes that you made in that game, you have to do the hard stuff and watch that game and study that game to not make those mistakes over and over again just because you weren't brave enough to face it. So she came down to the office. I brought her down to the office and we sat down, we watched that game together, right? And you gotta deal with it. Gotta deal with it. Face it, learn from it. Play for 20 years. I played for 20 years. You reach a certain level. You're like, okay, wait a minute. I have to start again at the base of a mountain. and try to climb the top of this mountain. First of all, what mountain am I climbing? I don't even know like, what the hell am I going to be doing. And it's very scary. It's very scary.
Even for you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing that helped me actually was hurting my Achilles. Because that forced me to sit there and say, okay, the day could be today that your career is over. Now what do you do? You have these ideas about doing something with your life after basketball. But what if today is the day that's it? Now what do you do? So I had all this time sitting there with my Achilles injury, contemplating and thinking, and I said, I better get to work.
Wow.
That was that. The mentality book is really about process and craft. I've broken the book up into 2 sections. And process is really about the process of preparing, through injury, recovery, study of the game. And the craft is the actual performance, and the tactics. And so a lot of things that I learned through the game are through photos. You can look at a photo and see like a player making a move, look at the angle of his feet, look how he's using his hands on defense. And I can really break down things to the smallest detail through that. And that's what you'll see in this book. I mean, it's really a basketball Bible. You'll see how I break things down, like how I'm looking at things to the smallest of detail.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to understand how to have that kind of mentality is to ask questions, then find answers. And that leads to more questions, you find more answers, and that's what it's doing. So how can we teach our children what it means to work? Well, you do it through training. Right? So when I get up in the morning, my daughter goes with me.
4 a.m.?
4 a.m. My 15-year-old goes with me. She goes with me before school, and it becomes a daddy-daughter thing.
That's cool.
She just got her permit, right? So she drives in the morning. It becomes a cool thing, right? But through that process, she understands the value of harmony and things taking time. And the same thing with my 12-year-old. She practices every day, right? And so it's through those behaviors is where I find the motivation to do it.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey.
Let's count our steps.
But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward. This is what I mean. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. First, you will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. Now, I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, I'm telling you. Embrace it, because it's inevitable. And I should know. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought, except for the fact that I can't sing. So I'm in the wings, I'm about to go on stage, but the guy in front of me, he's singing like Pavarotti. He's just and he's just going on and on and on, and I'm just shrinking. I'm getting smaller and smaller. So they say, "Oh, thank you very much, and you'll be hearing from us." So I come out with my little sheet music, and it was Just My Imagination by the Temptations. That's what I came up with. So I handed it to the accompanist, and she looks at it and looks at me, looks at the director, and was like, So I start, you know, I'm gonna sing. I'm like, and then not saying anything, so I'm thinking I'm getting better. I start getting into it. Running this, oh yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Washington, thank you. So I assumed I didn't get the job. But the next part of the audition, he called me back. The next part of the audition is the acting part of the audition. So I'm like, hey, okay, maybe I can't sing, but I know I can act. So they pair me with this guy, and again, I didn't know about musical theater. And musical theater is big, so they could reach everyone all the way in the back of the stadium. And I'm more from a realistic, naturalistic kind of acting where you actually talk to the person next to you. So I don't know what my line was. My line was, well, hand me the cup. And his line was, well, I will hand you the cup, my dear. The cup will be there to be handed to you. I said, oh, okay. Well, should I give you the cup back? Oh yes, you should give it back to me because you know that is my cup and it should be given back to me. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed. And I prayed. But I continued to fail. And fail. And fail. But it didn't matter because you know what? There's an old saying. You hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. So you will catch a break, and I did catch a break. Last year, I did a play called Fences on Broadway. As someone talked about. Won the Tony Award. And I didn't have to sing, by the way. But here's the kicker. It was at the Court Theater. It was at the same theater that I failed that first audition 30 years prior. The point is, every graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? Here's my second point about failure. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Les Brown's a motivational speaker. He made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes? You invested a lot in your education, and people have invested in you. And let me tell you, the world needs your talents. Man, does it ever. I just got back from Africa like 2 days ago, so I'm rambling on because I'm jet lagged. I just got back from South Africa. It's a beautiful country, but there are places there with terrible poverty that need help. And Africa is just the tip of the iceberg. The Middle East needs your help. Japan needs your help. Alabama needs your help. Tennessee needs your help. Louisiana needs your help. Philadelphia needs your help. The world needs a lot, and we need it from you. We really do. We need it from you young people. I mean, I'm not speaking for the rest of us up here, but I know I'm getting a little grayer. We need it from you, the young people. So you got to get out there. You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures. Because remember this, you will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take it with you. The Egyptians tried it, and all they got was robbed. So the question is, what are you going to do with what you have? I'm not talking about how much you have. Some of you are business majors, some of you are theologians, nurses, sociologists, some of you have money, some of you have patience, some of you have kindness, some of you have love, some of you have the gift of long suffering, whatever it is, whatever your gift is. What are you going to do with what you have? All right, now here's my last point about failure. Sometimes it's the best way to figure out where you're going. Your life will never be a straight path. I began at Fordham University as a pre-med student. I took a course called cardiac morphogenesis. I still can't say it. Cardiac morphogenesis. I couldn't read it, I couldn't say it, I sure couldn't pass it. So then I decided to go into pre-law, then journalism. And with no academic focus, my grades took off in their own direction. Yeah, down. I was a 1.8 GPA one semester, and the university very politely suggested that it might be better to take some time off. I was 20 years old, I was at my lowest point. And then one day, and I remember the exact day, March 27th, 1975, I was helping my mother in her beauty shop. My mother owned a beauty shop up in Mount Vernon. And there was this older woman who was considered one of the elders in the town. And I didn't know her personally, but I was looking in the mirror, and every time I looked at the mirror, I could see her behind me, and she was staring at me. She just kept looking at me. Every time I looked at her, she kept giving me these strange looks. So she finally took the dryer off her head and said something I'll never forget. First of all, she said, "Somebody give me a piece of paper. Give me a piece of paper." She said, "Young boy, I have a prophecy, a spiritual prophecy." She said, "You are going to travel the world and speak to millions of people." Now mind you, I'm 20 years old, I'm flunked out of school. In fact, like a wise ass, I'm thinking to myself, maybe she's got something in that crystal ball about me getting back into school next fall. But maybe she was on to something, because later that summer, while working as a counselor at the YMCA camp in Connecticut, we put on a talent show for the campus. And after the show, another counselor came up to me and asked, "Have you ever thought about acting? You're good at that." So when I got back to Fordham that fall, I got in and I changed my major once again for the last time. And in the years that followed, just as that woman prophesied, I have traveled the world and I have spoken to millions of people through my movies. Millions who up till this day couldn't see me. Up till this day I couldn't see while I was talking to them, and they couldn't see me. They could only see the movie. They couldn't see the real me. But I see you today, and I'm encouraged by what I see. And I'm strengthened by what I see. And I love what I see.
The word yoga means union. Union means whether you are aware of it or you are not aware of it, right now you are happening here as a part of everything else. What the trees exhale, you are inhaling. What you exhale, the trees are inhaling. Not just on the level of respiration, on all levels this is happening. What you think as myself is just a psychological boundary that you have set up. So yoga means consciously obliterating the boundaries of your individuality. So if you sit here, if you experience everything around you as myself, this is yoga. If you experience all this as myself, do you need morality? Be good to people, don't harm them, don't do this, don't do that, would it be necessary? Did anybody teach you out of these 5 fingers, this is a small finger, don't cut it off? Is there morality needed like that? Anything that you feel is a part of yourself, with that you don't need any values, ethics, morals, nothing, because it's a part of you. This is what yoga means. You experience everything as a part of you. When somebody experiences the whole universe as a part of himself, then we say he is a yogi. Charles Darwin said that you evolved out of a monkey. You were a monkey, then you became a man. Some of the genetic scientists are saying this, that the difference, the DNA difference between a chimpanzee and you is only 1.23%. So in that sense, physiologically you're only 1.23% away from a chimpanzee. Not a big difference, isn't it? A shade, just a shade of difference. But in terms of intelligence and awareness, you're worlds apart from a chimpanzee. So your problem is just this, you have an intelligence for which you don't have a stable enough platform, and that's why yoga. To create a stable platform so that your intelligence works for you. Right now, you may call it so many things, so many exotic names have come up. Stress, tension, anxiety, depression, madness, all kinds of things. All this essentially what it means is, your intelligence has turned against you, that's all. You can give any number of reasons, but essentially, your intelligence has turned against you. If your intelligence was working for you, would you create blissfulness or misery? This thought, why your intelligence has turned against you? There's no stable enough base. So the entire yogic system is about this, that you create a stable base so that your intelligence works for you. If your intelligence turns against you, no power in the universe is going to save you, you're a done thing. If you become what you make up, unfortunate, isn't it? Your thoughts belong to you or you belong to the thoughts, you must make up your mind.
They can be dangerous, those thoughts.
They're not dangerous, they're fantastic. Only thing is, fantastic things mishandled can kill you. A car can kill you, isn't it? It's a wonderful thing, an automobile. It made our lives. If you handle it irresponsibly, it kills you. Every possibility is like this. Every possibility, if you do not harness it, it becomes a problem. So the same goes for your cerebral capability. If you do not harness it, it's a serious problem. It's taking away 80% of the human beings are simply suffering. They don't need any outside help. They're on self-help. To understand, when I say I'm thinking this, another word, another way of saying it is, I'm making up this, I'm making up that. You can make up whatever you want, as long as you enjoy it. To transform your life, you want to do it in 2 minutes. So is that what your life is worth? So if your life is worthwhile, is it not important that you invest a certain amount of time and energy rather than looking for this stupid stuff of one mantra with which I will transform my life? It will not happen like that. That's the reason why most people have remained the way they have remained, because they've not invested in their well-being. It is not long-term, I would say, if I ask you, is your life worthwhile enough to invest 30 to 32 hours of focused time to bring some basic transformation within you? If I teach you a way where you can manage your chemistry the way you want, but we need 32 hours of focused time, do you think your life is valuable enough for that much investment, I'm asking?
Yes.
Then you must invest, that's what is called an engineering program. It's 32 hours of focused time.